so we can have a really good, clean recording. That would be awesome.
Recording in progress.
So welcome everybody. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. We're really excited to present to you tonight. It's a little bit different. I'm your host. I'm Andrea Abert. I've been with this amazing activation company for 5 years. I have heard so many incredible stories. I've witnessed so many of them. Tonight we have the privilege of sharing 2 of those stories with you. 2 friends of mine are going to come on tonight and just share their personal testimony. Now, we don't claim to cure, prevent, treat, or mitigate disease, but what I hope these stories show you is to empower you to understand that the body really, truly does heal itself when we give it the right tools. Also, to kind of expose allopathic medicine and how they fear-monger you, how they just kind of label you, set your predictions up and your future, and it's very dire and fear-based. And we just want to give you some hope with this presentation tonight with these awesome stories. And also invite you to go back to the person that invited you to this presentation and ask them if you can get into our wellness groups. We have so many incredible, informative wellness groups with the science behind our products, with incredible testimonies, and just a lot of these wellness webinars are also stored in there. So you get a lot of information. So I want to just bring my friend Rebecca on. She has an incredible story. Rebecca, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. I just love this girl. She's from the medical field, so she's actually a practicing nurse, but she has an incredible story that I just want you to share tonight, Rebecca, and then we'll just kind of go into it a little bit and then dive a little bit into both worlds, allopathic medicine and holistic care.
Okay, thanks, Andrea. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Happy Wellness Wednesday. I feel truly honored that I'm able to share my story. I love sharing my story, and I literally share my story every day with someone. Definitely, everyone I work with knows my story. So about 13 years ago, a little over 13 years ago, I went through a really long divorce. I had graduated nursing school, and I was under high amounts of stress. So I know a lot of you can relate to this. Most people that end up getting chronic illness, disease, cancer, any of these ailments, it typically starts with a stressor or a stress point. So I had gone under this high amounts of stress, and when I was done or thought my body was done, it decided to be done. So I was basically bedbound. And I laid in bed for months on end. I was in and out of hospitals, and I was just getting worse and worse. I was basically presenting with 103 fever every day. I had nose ulcerations. My mouth was all ulcerated. I had nodules up and down my legs, and the doctors were just dumbfounded on, we don't know what's wrong with you. They had tried every treatment, every antibiotic. Meanwhile, it's stripping my immune system even more and more and more. And I was frustrated, and I was also saddened at the same time because I had gone to school to be in this field. So it broke my heart when I realized, like, I may not want to do this. This may not be the path for me. So I'll never forget the night I was finally diagnosed. I had been researching everything because I just could not get well. And my kids were watching me slowly die. And I was sitting in there, and I said to the nurse, she knew me. I would come in, she would do gestures like, to me, like I'm nuts, different things like that. And I just basically told them that night, I said, look, I'm a nurse. I'm not, just coming in here because this isn't fun. I'm not okay. I'm not leaving tonight, and someone needs to come in and help me. I sat in that room for about 45 minutes, and this doctor walked in, and I literally explained everything to him, how I was feeling, what I was doing. And I thought that I had a disease called Behçet's, which is a rare autoimmune disease. But he looked at me and he said, no, Rebecca, you have something else, and we're going to go take a little sample of your nose, and we're going to test it. And I'm pretty sure you have this rare autoimmune disease called Wagner's granulomatosis GPA. And what this autoimmune disease does is it affects your blood vessels and your organs and basically attacks them. So
an autoimmune disease.
So I had an autoimmune disease, super rare one that is horrible, horrible. Definitely affects my respiratory tract. Most people who have what I have lost their nose and are on dialysis. So they basically tell me I have this horrible disease. At that time, my kids are really little, and they're basically like, look, the only thing we can do for you is you need to go on chemotherapy, you need to go on prednisone, kidney rejection medications, the whole gamut. So I just tell him, no, I'm not doing that. And he said, well, okay, you got about 6 months. So that's all I can tell you. So I just went back and forth, and I just said, fine, I'll do it. I'll take whatever I have to do. I'll just take it all. I need to raise my children.
So backing up, Rebecca, was it 6 months to live if you didn't take the medications?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So he's basically like, your body's going to shut down, and you're just basically going to die. Your kidneys are going to go into failure.
Unless you took the medication.
Correct. So I did. And I really, to be honest with you guys, could never get well. Was I bedbound on and off? Did I feel horrible? Yes. Was I trying to do my best for my children? Yes. I was working with a gastroenterology nurse. I'm a gastro nurse, so I work in EGD, colonoscopy. I do that all day long. And I'm standing with one of my physicians who I absolutely adore. And she just looks at me, and she's like, she knew my diagnosis. And she says, Becky, like, what do you eat? And I'm just like looking at her like, what is she talking about? And then I started thinking to myself, wow, I don't think I eat very good. I look at her and I'm like, I don't think I really eat very good. And she's like, I want you to go home and find the show on Netflix. It's called Heal, Heal, Heal. And they keep taking it down, but I want you to find it and watch it. So I found the show, I watched it, and it was about a bunch of doctors and nurses that got chronic illnesses, and they realized that Western medicine or allopathic could not help them. So that to me was my first light bulb. It was a ding, ding, ding. And I put myself on an anti-inflammatory diet. And then I had a good friend who was working for a functional doctor. So he was recommending glutathione. So I was going in, getting all these infusions. I was learning about root cause. I was learning about my teeth, how my body functioned, just all different things, which was just blowing my mind right and left.
That you never learned in medical school?
Never learned. It was just, and it was like, for me, I still say to this day, it's always like connecting the dots. Yeah. It's like you learn something, and then you take that, and then you look what's going on. You go, oh my gosh,
yes.
I get it.
Yes, literally connecting the dots, right?
Yes, totally connecting the dots. So a family member, actually, my sister was the one who saw it. We had a family member who had posted about this incredible little yellow pill. And my sister saw the word glutathione, and my sister also struggles with autoimmune diseases, scleroderma, Hashimoto's, Raynaud's. And autoimmune, if you know someone, a loved one or anyone who has it, they always group themselves. You never have one. It's always a group. Yeah, so I was just learning more and more. And when I saw that glutathione and I saw what it did, I figured at that time, we did not have collagen. I looked at it and I figured, I have nothing to lose. Like, I can barely walk most days. I feel horrible. I look horrible. My quality of life for my children is nil. Like, I need to do something, because even when I was getting infusions and doing the stuff I was still supposed to do, I was not getting well. It's like I tell people, an infusion goes in and goes out. It may help detox you. That glutathione may go in and it may be good for the next 48 hours as it's detoxing my body. But that's it. Unless it's constantly in there, Andrea, and I know that you know this, like, that is what makes activation truly incredible, is that it takes our body's processes and turns them back on, so that our bodies, not an IV, not an infusion, not any weird mechanism, is actually making this inside of our body and healing our body. And when I truly learned that autoimmune and all these chronic illnesses is truly the gut. I don't care what any physician, anyone tells you. It is truly a destruction of your gut. It typically starts with high stress levels. It then bumps up that cortisol. Your cortisol is massively producing. You get inflammation. Your gut gets broken down, and then it creates your whole stream of problems. And when that food is being released into your system, it is attacking itself, and you, boom, autoimmune. And disease, chronic illness, all these different things. The only thing I've ever truly taken in my entire life that I can truly say has truly healed me, is activation. And
what did you start with?
So I started at the time, I just started with the NRF2. And to be honest with you guys, I was on that NRF2 for about 4 months, and it made me kind of ill. So this is what I tell my patients, is there's a reaction that we call a Herxheimer reaction. You can Google it, look it up. This is actually is a great thing. If you are getting GI upset, if you are getting headaches, if chills, fever, you are feeling sick, malaise, tired, any of these things, I'm telling you, the toxins are coming out of your body. And when that is happening, I always recommend to any of my friends, family members, anyone that I'm helping get detoxed, to definitely soak in baths with Epsom salt. Is a great place to start, because most of us with chronic illness are deficient in magnesium. And the magnesium we're getting from that is absorbed through our skin and definitely helps us release those heavy metals and toxins coming out of our body. There's all different concoctions. You can go online. I usually start with my friends that are really ill. I start with 2 pounds of sea salt and 2 pounds of Epsom salt, especially while they're starting on the products and detoxing.
So, do you know, that's so interesting, because I tell people what I love about NRF2 is we have the empirical data. We know what it's going to do.
Yes.
It's going to increase the glutathione. It's going to recalibrate the body. We say like a fine tuning a piano, right?
Yes.
So when we offer people NRF2 activation, you almost have to sit back, because you don't know how their individual body is going to react. We know what it's going to do scientifically, but some people will never have that Herx reaction whatsoever. And then you have those people that will. And I just say, trust your body. It's going to make the right decision and the right call for whatever it is you need. And it's true. Some people will have that really tough Herxheimer period of time where their body is just really getting that gunk out. But it's something you have to go in order to get out.
Yeah. And everyone's different. Some people don't ever experience anything. And some people experience, 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days. I mean, every single person's body is totally different. But
and so then, what was your activation period like? Once you started to activate, you said it took 4 months to start really feeling like yourself again.
Oh my gosh, I'll never forget this, you guys. I'm literally because I had been so ill, and I love to cook, and I was in the kitchen cooking. And my sister called me, and she's like, "How are you feeling?" And I'm like, "Good, I'm cooking." She's like, "So how are you feeling?" And it was like another light bulb, oh my God, I think I'm getting better. I think I'm feeling better. I literally that day went on and ordered NRF1. So then I was on NRF2, NRF1, then I ordered the pre and probiotic. We did not have the collagen at the time. For me, the NAD was a game changer, but with any person that is ill, I always recommend to do the NAD last. The NAD can sometimes create some serious detox reactions, especially with people that have dysfunctional mitochondria. So that's typically and I typically start everyone, Andrea, I really start with the gut on whatever is ailing them. I try to do the pre and probiotic with the NRF2 and the collagen. That is my game starter for everyone.
Oh,
and wow. Then depending on their budget or depending on what they can do after that, I tell them you're adding the NRF1. You're adding the NRF1 from there, and then we'll see where you're at.
Now, a lot of people, I've heard, this talk about connecting the gut. But what I found is I always tell people the NRF2 first, always activation first, because NRF2 is going to every single cell in your gut, right? So there is a connection there, and it's anti-inflammatory. So it's bringing away, it is kind of addressing the gut health while not being a probiotic or something specific to the gut.
NRF2 is, it is a miracle. That's all I have to say is the inflammation that I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're an Olympian. I don't care if you're a cancer patient. NRF2 will do something inside your body that until you are on the product and can quite understand, if you can't, I tell people, please go do your lab work and be patient. Be patient. Don't think, if you're 50 years old like me, okay, you're 50 years old, and I try this product for 1 month and I go, okay, it's not working. No, it's like, I tell people, I'm like, I can't go to the gym for 1 month, Andrea, and be like, okay, I'm good. All right, guys, I'm good. I went to the gym for a month. Take care. No, activation. I tell all my clients, activation is a lifestyle. This is a lifestyle that you're going to be living. And this is a constant detox. It's almost like, functional medicine doctors do chelation. I don't know if anyone on here understands what chelation is, but our NRF2 does that in such a mild way. If you go into a functional medicine doctor and have true chelation, you get very, very sick. And that is removing the heavy metals out of your body. And most people who have any type of illness, anything from joint pains to brain fog to acne, we can name it all. You have some type of heavy metal toxins in your body, and you got to get it out. And I'm just thankful because where we're at in the world today, everyone knows that's on this call, just our food system and everything that's going on. We are truly blessed to have this product in our hands because it is keeping our body in a state of chelation, which is a state of detox, which to me is it's a no-brainer. No-brainer.
Did you want to share those photos real quick before we bring Miriam on?
Yeah, bear with me, you guys here. I'm trying to share my screen. If those of you that don't know me or don't follow me on social, I just want to show you some pictures. And honestly, you guys, these are not even these aren't even the bad ones. So let me share this. Okay, so this is how I typically, right here, you guys would look all the time. I would coat my skin with makeup because I was embarrassed as I was working. And literally, some of these spots on me, Andrea, even on my knees, they were covering me, were almost warm to the touch. My body was on fire. And then my nose would ulcerate. You can see in this picture right here. I just don't know where I would be. Whoever invited you here today, you guys, deeply loves you and cares about you, because I do not know where I would be without activation. And of course, we all need to, have a healthy lifestyle and, along with activating our bodies. But I can't even, I look at these pictures and I can't imagine being here again. I can't imagine. My stomach, my joints, just everything was miserable, Andrea. Ugh.
And that's why people say that once you know about this, you have the moral obligation to share it with the world, because
yes. This is when I was 41. So literally I think I had started getting sick around, my autoimmune has, I think, presented my entire life from the time I was a baby. My mom said I got vaccinated and went into full-blown seizures. And that's another thing. If people that have
genetic mutation.
And people that have food allergies typically have a high toxic load in their body. Their gut is broken down. Anyways, thank you guys for listening and letting me share. I love sharing my story. I love helping people, and I love sharing the power of activation. It's life-changing.
Those pictures say 1,000 words. You do not look 50. You look absolutely like anti-aging picture girl. I love your story. Thank you for sharing it.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you for letting me share.
And Miriam, can you unmute yourself?
Yes.
Yes, girl, go introduce yourself. Give us your background and share your story.
Well, I haven't shared it to this many people before, but so anyway, how I got here is I was at a Life Vantage meeting, but and I shared my story. But anyway, mine is pretty extreme as well. So 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago, I was pregnant with my sixth child, and I was hemorrhaging, and I've had issues with other pregnancies, but anyway, I got several opinions, and basically when I went in, they said, you don't have a choice. You have to eliminate this pregnancy and get an emergency hysterectomy. And anyway, I was just kind of like, wait, what? Are you kidding me? Like, this is...
And that's their only solution. It's always fear-based, very dramatic.
Very dramatic. And I worked in the field, and not one of my patients ever went through the extreme things that I've been through. So it's pretty crazy. But anyway, ended up going for a hysterectomy and just had to I just thought that was my only option. I got out of surgery not being able to eat, breathe, or walk. And I felt like an elephant was sitting on my chest, and I just couldn't catch a breath, and I felt like it was my last breath. And never experienced anything like that. Anyway, I stayed an extended amount of time in the hospital, but then they sent me home. And I'm like, there's something wrong. Like, this is seriously wrong. I don't know what it is, but something's not right. And I wasn't getting better. But after a couple weeks, I started seeing a little bit of improvement, just a teeny bit. Then all of a sudden, exactly 1 month after I got the surgery, I lost my vision. I felt like I was shaking. I was getting hot, like super hot. I felt like I was going to collapse. I woke up my husband. We went to the ER, and they told me that I had a hemangioma in my brain, and I had a blood clot in my ovary. And so I thought, my gosh, it's pretty extreme. And anyway, they put me on blood thinners, and they sent me home. I had 8 visits after that to the ER, and they just kept telling me I had anxiety to go home. I'm like, no, there's something seriously wrong. I don't just have anxiety. Yeah, I probably have anxiety from all the, visits to the ER, but I just couldn't figure out what was going on. And I was declining fast, and I was dropping weight really fast. And eventually got to the point where I had a doctor come to the house, and I was at the time living with my in-laws. And he said, I'm going to give you a month. So I don't think you're going to last past a month. And I was like, wait, what? I have kids. I have 4 daughters. I'm like, there's no way. So one of my daughters, she was on an LDS mission. And another daughter that, I have 3 more daughters. And I was like, this can't be. This just can't be. Anyway, my husband was desperate. He didn't know how to help me. And every time it was like, I didn't know how to help myself either. And I was just declining quickly. And I couldn't walk. I couldn't eat. It was just like, how do I help myself? I just don't know. And being in the profession, I'm like, I was dumbfounded. And no one can figure it out.
When he gave you a month, did he tell you why, or was there some kind of diagnosis or reason, or was he just seeing you?
I went to 67 specialist appointments, and nobody could figure out, or they would say it's just in my head.
Wow.
And I said, can you clearly see that I weigh nothing, and I can't walk, and I can't eat? It's like, so anyway, yeah, it was pretty intense. And yeah, my husband was desperate, and my parents offered to take care of me, but the condition of moving down to St. George. So went down to St. George, and my parents, they believe in holistic medicine, but they were like, oh, let's do a fast. Let's put you on a juice cleanse. And that was not what my body needed, and I was declining really fast. And it got to the point where they just thought I was just, I wasn't going to be able to make it. And anyway, my husband ended up, I don't even want to admit this, but they put me in a mental hospital because they just thought that I couldn't improve. And anyway, it took my husband 3.5 weeks to get me out. and he
Who
brought me.
put you in was it mental hospital? And your husband had to fight to get you out of the mental hospital?
Yes.
This
Yeah.
just blows my mind.
Exactly. Because they said it was in my head. All these symptoms, they said it's just in your head. You don't know what you're talking about, type thing. So anyway, he fought for 3.5 weeks and got me out, and he took me home. And my hair, I mean, I lost 75% of my hair. He put me on 7 different medications 4 times a day, and I could just see my life I could see me dying. And anyway, I ended up, losing 75% of my hair. It went 100% gray. My husband said it was unrecognizable. I didn't even look like the same person, and I couldn't walk. And it was a brutal hospital. They're not kind. Wow. They wouldn't help me improve. They wouldn't give me a wheelchair, even though I was wheelchair bound and bedridden.
They probably had it on your notes that you were the crazy lady.
Maybe.
I've
actually never really told people about this part of this story because, it was just horrific, just absolutely horrific. Anyway, and they wouldn't let me talk to my children. They wouldn't let me have visitors. I mean, it was bad. It was really bad. But eventually, I went home and I just tried to figure out how to help myself by going to holistic doctors, and nothing was working. And my husband's like, I know how to help you. And at the time, I was in Utah, and he said, we need to take you back home to the beach.
Wow.
So brought me back, and I was laying in bed, and I just, after my daughter had, said a little prayer and said that she wanted me to run again with her because I was an avid runner. I was very athletic before this. And I was just desperate. And I hadn't looked at social media for so long because it made me depressed that everybody else was healthy and I wasn't. So I went on there, and my friend Monique, she held up a bottle or 2 bottles and said, this will change your life. And I called her up and I said, send everything to me, please. And after 1 week, I was able to get out of bed after the collagen.
What were you on? What did you take?
Just collagen. Just collagen.
Just collagen?
Yep. 1 week I was out of bed. After 1 month, I stopped losing my hair. So my husband stopped picking up from the floor to hide it from me so he wouldn't get depressed. And after 2 months, I started growing my hair back, and it started going back to my natural hair color. And after 3 months, it was down to my lower back. And anyway, I started, and I was hesitant to take NRF2 because of the ashwagandha in it. Because I had an allergic reaction to ashwagandha when I was going through my hard time. And so I started, and I just thought, you know what, I really need to take this. So I started out with 1/4 of the activator, and then 1/2, and then 3/4, and then a whole. But like Rebecca said, it makes you feel like you have the flu. Like, it was terrible. I mean, my whole body just hurt, felt like nauseous. I mean, I just felt horrible on it. But I knew I had to keep going. But I kept going, and eventually, and mind you, at that time, I had no feeling in my limbs. I could not walk. I had no feeling. And all of a sudden, I remember waking up, and I was crying, and I went to my husband. I'm like, I can feel my toes. And that was like, oh my goodness, miracle. So anyway, and then it got me the ability to be able to help myself even more. I was walking really slow, but I was able to have the capacity to find a chiropractor who released my sciatic nerve, and he put stem cells in my lower back. And I was able to walk after that. And every day I've been improving. And I've been to a neuropathy specialist as well. And I've done red light therapy. And then the last thing that my chiropractor said is you probably need to lose a little bit of weight around your joints because my joints were in a lot of pain. And I went to Spectrum Wellness, which now I'm a partner. I went there and a lot of my pain was eliminated in my joints. I've had pain in my C-section scar for 6 years and eliminated as well, but I couldn't have done it without the foundation of LifeVantage. And I'm not just taking these two products. I mean, I'm taking a lot of products. The omegas, my cholesterol was skyrocketed during this time, and the omegas have helped with that. I just feel super blessed that all of these things have really,
Miriam, I think everyone on the call is crying. And you see the chat is just blowing up. What can you share like what it was then in the end? Wasn't it medical malpractice from the surgery?
Yes. I've tried to sue many times, but it's a government entity. But anyway, still in the process of at least wanting my medical bills to be paid for. But yeah, it's medical malpractice, absolutely, because I didn't give the approval of residents to perform the surgery and the anesthesia and the anesthesia. So I found out that residents perform that, and I've been an assistant in surgeries, and I would never let someone inexperienced work on my body, and they let that happen. And one of the things that happened is the CO2 and the laparoscopic surgery was let go too early, and that's what crushed my ribs, so I couldn't breathe. And it almost severed my sciatic nerve. But luckily, I'm so grateful that it wasn't severed completely.
And there was a bladder incision as well, wasn't there?
Yes, they had pricked my bladder. I mean, there's so many things I could go on, but come to find out, I had to go in for another surgery because they lacerated my esophagus. That's why I couldn't eat. And they had to remove the scar tissue and widen my esophagus.
And how long ago was this? People are asking.
How long ago was the esophageal surgery?
Was the whole ordeal
3 years ago I got the surgery.
Amazing. And then when did you find activation?
Last March.
Last March.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. Oh gosh, girl. There is actually I wish I had the information on hand. I have it somewhere in my back drawer. There is like a medical advocacy group for when you are in the hospital. There is such thing as that. It's being taken into the hospital and being held hostage. It's an incredibly frightening thing, especially if you're dealing with a spouse, a child, especially because I'm telling you, do everything you can to stay at home and to heal your body holistically before you ever go into those doors. And I tell you, I have seen so many things. My husband had appendicitis recently, and we were able to treat it at home by addressing like inflammatory issue, treating it like there was an infection and obstruction. So we just addressed all three of those areas. And, it was like hit or miss for about 48 hours, and he just kind of passed through it, and he was great. So I'm just like, anytime we can keep an organ too, because I feel like every time you go to the hospital, it's just like, oh, we'll just take out your uterus. Oh, this
no big deal. Just your core.
Yeah, just your thyroid, just your, just your kidneys, just this. It's also willy-nilly, as if God didn't perfectly design it in there with a perfect system. And, just like not very necessary. Your stories are so powerful. And I wanted to share a little bit for our audience, because a lot of our audience comes back again and again to watch our wellness webinars and just see how impactful it is, the science we have behind it. Now, these incredible testimonies. I would love to just share a little bit of your stories, both of you, how you've kind of come full circle from being nurses in allopathic medicine to now being consultants with the activation company. Can you share, Miriam, a little bit, and then we'll go to Rebecca, just like what life looks like on this side as opposed to what it looks like on the other side, and what your goals are with the activation company and that sort of thing. And I just want to give people this vision that if you're hearing things tonight that are setting your soul on fire, maybe consider getting with the person also who invited you to this wellness webinar and start learning about what it looks like to do this kind of work from home. It's extremely empowering. Like Rebecca said, she doesn't know what would happen if these products weren't introduced to her life, which I know you feel the same way, Miriam.
Yep.
I feel that way about the business. This business has given my family our life and have given us time together, and just empowered us in so many ways and given us such a community. So I wanted to hear like from you two, just your take on it.
So, I have introduced all my family to LifeVantage. I mean, just because it has helped and blessed me so much, I have introduced my parents to it. It's helped my mom with, diabetes, and my husband. So he's got a good story as well. I mean, he had some really bad blood tests, and one of the things was his triglycerides was 417, and it's like heart attack, stroke type, symptom. He could have either one. And anyway, we did this program with LifeVantage. I put him on an anti-inflammatory diet, and he was able to get healthy. And he's played basketball for years and years and years, but he hasn't been able to really play. And now he just told me he can dunk the ball. And so it's like at 46 years old. So it's pretty amazing.
Love it.
Yeah, so pretty amazing. But like I said, I'm a partner at Spectrum Wellness Solutions in Irvine, California. And I share my story every day to these wonderful women and men that we get to meet every single day. And just the hair loss alone. I mean, so many women suffer from hair loss and they just don't know what to do. And a lot of them have been very blessed with the activators as well. I mean, I've got a lot of people on the same products as well. And anyway, I would love to just make it explode. I mean, I just, it's interesting because I was really quite, shy about sharing my story just because it's so personal and it's very extreme, it seems like.
And there's a baby involved. It's so much more than just you're almost dying.
Yep.
You lose a child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're put in a mental ward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Very,
I'm
very
hugging myself as you're telling your story. I'm trying to hug you through the screen.
Yeah, but the one thing that I have to say is like the motivation, like I said, was my little daughter. She's 6 now, but like definitely my motivation to like get better. It's like just I don't know. It almost seems like it happened overnight where I was like just declining like crazy, and I thought how can I get out of this rut? How can I walk? How can I breathe? How can I do any of these things? And it's just crazy because all of a sudden one day I'm like, I can feel my toes. Okay, that means I'm getting better,
Wow.
And my children they're so happy that mom's back,
Yeah.
So.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. I know we're like running later on longer time, but we had 2 incredible stories, and thank you so much for sharing that, Miriam. And Rebecca, I just want to turn it over to you really quickly to share your holistic side.
Oh, Miriam, thank you so much for your vulnerability and coming on and sharing that. But there is power in testimony, and I have learned the more I share who I am and what I've been through, the more God leads me to the right people that I need to help.
Absolutely.
So keep doing it, girl. Keep doing it. I'm proud of you. You should be proud of yourself. And I just wanted to add, for those of you, I have been activated for 4 years this spring, and I have been off all of my prescription medications. It will be 2 years this spring. So I love sharing that. The business to me is like none other. All I can say is this: I want this to be my full-time calling, and at some point God will have that happen for me. And I just don't stop. My kids make fun of me. They call me the crazy collagen yellow pill lady. And and I just tell her, I'm literally, you guys would crack up if you guys saw me with my Western medicine doctors in the GI lab telling my story. And one of the doctors, sorry, I don't mean to carry on, but I have to tell the story. It is hysterical. I work with this incredible nurse, and she struggled with gastroparesis, which basically means your food is sitting in your stomach. That nerve is dead and cannot empty. So she's had every study. This woman has had everything done to her. She is the most incredible woman. We're standing in there, and the doctor is right there, and we're both in the room. And I said, so what is she supposed to do, Dr. So-and-so? What is she supposed to do? Where does she go from here? And he's like, well, just be on a full liquid diet the rest of your life. And I look at her, I'm like, who can, I looked at him, I go, who can do that? He's
The
like, well,
rest of your life, everything is just so, like,
let me tell you guys, I started her off on my regimen. She is now going on 6 months. She is totally back to normal. Her gastroparesis is gone. She's like, Becky, she comes in every day. She's so cute. She's like, I had Thai food. Oh my God, I had Thai food. Like, it is so cute. And she's like, I'm a lifer, Becky. Anyone that you want me to talk to. But it was about healing her gut. And for me, the business is a no-brainer. It's not even, Andrea, it's not like a business. It's like you're just sharing.
it's like a mission. It's like a
You're just sharing. Yeah, you're sharing what you know works and what you love, and you know how powerful it is and what it's done for you and so many people that you love and care about. We have incredible stories on our side of the family too, with my dad and my mom, and I can go on and on and on. It's incredible. These stories will never get old. And the power of being able to share this and then being able to feel good about that you helped someone when they've gone to 8 billion specialists and nothing's working.
So,
and you have this power.
We need an army to come up against this Rockefeller sick care system that we've been exposed to and accepted for the last 100 years. That's getting significantly worse and worse year after year. And literally all they can do is medicate or operate. That's your options. So unless
and Andrea, you know what the sad thing is, and I look at this, I'm like, it's not the doctor's fault. It's not any of these people.
You guys have to hop off. Sorry.
That's literally what they were